Jacob Zuma is done serving his people, but we are here this morning to serve you breakfast. Good morning, Ghana. You're watching us from the center of the world, and we're here to serve you big breakfast. The guys and the lady are all ready. Good morning, guys and lady.
Good morning. Right.
Jacob Zuma is gone away. It means that we are Ramaphosa.
Yeah. We are the new guy in office now. Right? Yeah. So he will be sworn in by the parliament, and then he will take over. But great. I think great for Jacob.
I mean, we predicted that he was going to step down.
We thought that was the right way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you should have known since 2015 that, Charlie, the people, they tire you.
Yeah, when the altar against you, just find a way out. After all, you enjoy the perks you enjoy it when you're in power. So,
but Morgan Changvra is also gone.
He's exited the stage.
Should we hold a state burial for him?
Like, of course. I mean,
because now everybody who dies, we say, okay, let's give him a state burial, let's give him a state burial.
No, he's a great guy.
He is. I mean, he's been on the political scene for a long time.
I'm talking about Ghanaians hosting.
No. As for that, our money will be
here. Ghana say, okay, give the person state burial. So maybe we should give Morgan, Comrade Morgan, find a
all right, so we're mourning with the people of Zimbabwe.
Absolutely.
A great leader there. He's contributed a lot to Zimbabwe's great democracy. He's gone now, and I'm sure Zimbabweans are mourning the man they loved so much. Hey, but the rest of the world is watching us. Good morning. We're here from now till 9 a.m. Anthony Jackson is here, and he has all the news this morning.
Jackson.
The president is in Nigeria.
Yes.
And so Flagstaff is empty.
Why are you smiling like that?
We have the vice
president. The president is in Nigeria. Yeah. You're smiling. The vice president is sending flowers.
He has set the bar.
He sent a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Well, this is more than a bouquet. It looks like a whole garden of it. Yeah. But he sent it to his wife, and she was surprised.
You got just one chocolate. And you were making so much noise about it.
About brown.
I'm surprised. Why is he assuming? Just because what you saw on set. You don't know what I got in the background.
You got one chocolate.
And what did you get?
Charlie.
I got a chocolate from my group CEO. Oh. I got chocolates from other.
We all got chocolates from our group CEO.
No.
Why are you making
Not everybody did.
Everybody did.
She didn't.
I did.
She did. Everybody did. So
you see, AJ, so really,
Madam
it's okay. Let's just calm him
new.
down. I'm sure he's having some morning blues after not gnashing on Valentine's Day.
You know that when you are single and people come to argue with you that you are single, sometimes you want to be very defensive. It's affecting him. But if Dr. Baumia has raised the standard like this,
Charlie, it's not easy.
Charlie.
But you can also go ahead and tell us how you did yours yesterday. It was Val's Day. How did you do it? You sent a chocolate or text message. I love the text message that I had.
So how did you celebrate it?
No, I got a lot.
Did you avoid people?
From one special one in Tamale. She sent it to me. I was so excited.
Did you avoid people?
Her one in the
yes,
morning,
I did. No, I didn't avoid anyone. I mean,
okay.
Yes, I received all text messages. That's right.
I had a few politician friends who I called yesterday and said, well, Charlie, the reason we didn't appear anywhere in the media is that if the people get to find out that we are in town, they'll call us. So you are in town, I'm calling you, are not picking up your phone. So they avoided everybody altogether. Yeah, Charlie.
Honorable, you're in town and I'm calling you, I'm not picking up. I've seen you on TV say I'm coming.
Everybody's going to ask the honorables for chocolate, for something on Valentine's Day. And they have I'm sure they dread the holidays. Every time they hear any special day coming up, they remember their constituents who will all be calling them, for some goodies. Our heart goes out to them.
They brought those things onto themselves.
Exactly,
when they stand on the platform, they promise everything.
Including pen and pencil.
Everything.
All right. The month of February is just hit the middle. I think it's just running.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the delays in January, it's taking a leap now. And I'm sure we'll be ending soon. But we're here to just do what we do every morning. Serve you. Anthony Jackson is starting the day right away with all the news.
Yes, sir.
He will tell us where the president is and what he's been talking about before he left Ghana.
The news will be coming up shortly after this. Good morning to you. My name is Anthony Jackson, and this is the news for this morning. Now, President Akufo-Addo has hinted of changing the name of Flagstaff House to Jubilee House in the next few weeks. The president was receiving the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs in Accra.
The President, Akufo-Addo, gave the hint when he received members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs at the Flagstaff House in Accra.
I'm sure and hope that it will not be the last, and that our Flagstaff House, soon to be Jubilee House properly, will be honored and privileged again to host a delegation from the Upper West here.
The discussions also focused on improving the road network and providing other education infrastructure for institutions in the region. The delegation, led by the President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, Kuru Richard Babeni Canton, called for autonomy for the Wa campus of the Investor Development Studies in Tamale, while stressed on the need to roll out policies focused on developing the shea nut industry in the area. Kuru Canton reiterated the region's commitment to the various flagship programs of the government.
Through the fertilizer subsidy of the Planting for Food and Jobs program, money has been put in people's pockets. Our region is on record to have had the largest number of beneficiaries under the first phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs.
He again appealed to the president to convert the Wa Polytechnic into a technical university. The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, assured them of getting their grievances addressed in due course. He pledged his commitment to get other developmental projects, including the Wa Regional Hospital and airport, completed.
The Wa Airport is essentially complete. That is the information that I have from the Minister for Aviation. And basically now we're just waiting for a time to officially commission it and then bring it into use. The information that I have is that the completion of the hospital forms part of this year's budget of the Ministry of Health. In the course of this year, on that matter too, you should get some joy.
He once again assured the chiefs to mobilize resources in the next 6 months to strengthen security in the country.
In interim, in the next 6 months, our anticipation is that there will be a very clear, visible, dramatic enhancement of the capability of our police services so that they can protect all of us the better.
Meanwhile, the President Akufo-Addo has left for Nigeria to attend a one-day Catholic Bishops' Conference. He went on the invitation of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, led by Reverend Dr. Matthew Hassan Kuga. His two-day conference will seek to deliver a lecture on transformative governance. He will again be the keynote speaker on the theme, How to Make Democracy Work for Africa. He's expected back to Ghana Thursday, February 15. Now let's head over to Parliament, where a member of Parliament for Bolgatanga Central says some figures churned out by the President in the State of the Nation address are inaccurate.
To be very how can you, as a government, decide to submit sole source contracts on your own, increase the values of those contracts and submit them to PPA, turn around to get PPA to tell you that you are being fraudulent with inflated contracts, and then you sum those ones up and say you have saved the country monies from your own fraudulent conduct? How can that be a way of saving money? The liquidity of the banking sector in 2016 ended the year at 22%. Under this leadership of the incompetent economic management team, it declined to 16.7%, even after issuing this injurious energy bond. Mr. Speaker, private sector credit that propels the private sector to be able to generate growth and jobs declined from 14.4% under the incompetent NDC to 12.8%, and the President is celebrating lack of credit to the private sector. Again, non-performing loans that they claimed they were going to address stood at 17.3% at the end of 2016. Today, under this incompetent government, it has increased to 22.9%. Mr. Speaker, how can the president look us in the face and celebrate this incompetence and mediocrity? This same leadership, they are projecting that in 2018 it won't get better. It will grow by 5.84%. They are still projecting that in 2019, this same economy will grow again by 5.9%. And again, they are still projecting that by 2020, the economy will grow by 6%. How can that be a brilliant leadership of an economist? When a non-economist was dealing with 7.6 to 8.3, this economist, even over a period of 3 years, will still be struggling with 6% growth of the Ghanaian economy. If the vice president heading the economic management team is not a constitutional imperative, he should be reshuffled immediately, completely away from heading the economic management team to save Ghana from this incompetence and mediocrity.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports, the infamous Ministry of Youth and Sports, submitted a claim of 89.9 million Ghana cedis. Only 172,000 was certified. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Communication, under which the NCA comes, Ministry of Communication, they submitted a claim of 23.4 million cedis. Same was rejected. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Energy submitted a claim of 596 million. 307 million Ghana cedis was rejected. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Transport, where the bus branding took place, they submitted a claim of 31.2 million. Mr. Speaker, 14 million Ghana cedis was rejected. So, Mr. Speaker, governments are elected to ensure that the country benefits from their rule. And this is what the government of the MPP and the Akufo-Addo are doing. A saving of a whopping 5.4 billion Ghana cedis as a result of prudence, diligence, and this value for money audit.
The debate continues on Thursday, February 15.
Another Supreme Court presided over by a single judge, Justice Yao Apeo, has quashed an earlier decision by the Court of Appeal refusing human rights lawyer Francis Osso an application to stay of execution. The Supreme Court therefore granted leave for the lawyer to file an appeal against the punishment handed to him by the General Legal Counsel.
In the judgment of the Apex Court, Justice Yao Apeo stated it will be an abuse of the fundamental human rights of the lawyer if he is not given the opportunity to be heard at a higher level apart from the disciplinary committee over his 3-year suspension. The court went ahead to order the applicant to file his processes within the next 7 days for the case to be heard by the Supreme Court. It will be recalled that the General Legal Counsel banned Francis Osso from practicing for 3 years on 2 major offenses, including overcharging a client. The counsel further stated he flouted the professional conduct and rules by advertising his legal firm's name and address on social media platforms. He disagreed with the decision of the counsel and proceeded to the Court of Appeal to quash the suspension, but decided to again file a motion seeking to halt the implementation of the suspension before the substantive matter was heard. But in July last year, the court presided over by Justice Henry Anthony Kofi dismissed the motion pending determination of the substantive appeal case. The judge indicated the jurisdiction of the court had not been properly revoked.
And a member of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, Joseph Yilechre, says Martin Amidu is a principled man who will not allow political interference in his job. The MP for Wawes insists the special prosecutor nominee could resign if it becomes apparent that there is political pressure from government to influence his job.
I have been with Martin Amidu. He was a prefect when I was in school, in Navrongo Secondary School. So that's where we first met. And of course, after 1982, we young people came together to support the 31st December Revolution. And that's where we started working together again. I was a minister or secretary then. He was a deputy secretary. His principles are really strong. I mean, when he thinks that something is wrong, he states it without any hesitation. He is unorthodox in a number of ways. What everybody expects you to do, Martin, if he is not convinced, will not do those things. He doesn't do things to please other people necessarily. He does the things because he always considers it as a responsibility and a duty to serve the downtrodden, make sure that it's fair to people as much as possible. I believe that if he is given the position and he begins to do things and he sees interference or he sees sabotage or something or lack of resources which will make him appear to be incompetent, he's not somebody who is just looking for a position of honor. So I will not be surprised if he does so, because it's somebody, when he sees that he's not making effort in what he wants to do, he doesn't hesitate to take the next step.
And to the health sector, the ear, nose and throat department of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital will officially begin a cochlear implant service. The service is to assist patients with profound hearing loss to regain the ability to hear and speak. The acting chief executive officer of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Felix Anya, says his outfit will adopt a comprehensive policy to improve services at the nation's first teaching hospital.
Hearing loss impact negatively on children. The acquisition of language and development of communication become problems. The result is poor literacy skills, which can alter long-term employment opportunities and social interactions. The World Health Organization estimates 320 million people live with disabling hearing loss, out of which about 32 million are children. The organization again estimates that 60% of childhood hearing loss is preventable. However, when the hearing loss is unavoidable, appropriate intervention measures can and will ensure that the child reaches full potential through rehabilitation, education and empowerment. Speaking at the official launch to begin cochlear implant services to assist people with profound hearing loss, the acting chief executive officer of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Felix Anya, believed putting the right policy in place will improve effective health delivery.
This is the time that we want to remodel our infrastructure, our equipment, our training, our number of doctors and the staff to be able to render service that can attract people from Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, to come here and come and pay Ghana with foreign exchange.
The Africa Development and Regional Manager of Cochlear Implant Service, Mohamed El Disoki, said his outfit is partnering Korle Bu Teaching Hospital to train more doctors to specialize in the corrections of hearing loss for the sustainability of the department.
Africa needs a development, a clinic and country development model. And one of the most organized countries I've seen in that field is maybe Ghana and Tanzania. I think Ghana, through this hospital, this fine hospital, is ready to start a cochlear implant program.
Yesterday was Chocolate Day and members of Parliament were not left out in a celebration. A stand was mounted in Parliament where MPs were served with chocolate drink. In a statement to mark the day, the Minister of Tourism, Creative Arts and Culture, Catherine Afeku, said a museum being built at Mampong in the eastern region will honor Tete Kwashi, the man who brought cocoa to Ghana.
It is unparliamentary to eat in the chamber and in the public gallery, but MPs broke that rule on Chocolate Day. Chocolates and toffees were distributed to members on the floor, and some could not resist from eating. The Speaker reminded members of the rules.
Nibbling is allowed, so it's a matter of how you gingerly go about sucking rather than eating. It is in the rules and the practices, well settled. So just adopt the style and you may proceed.
The Speaker then urged that chocolate be given to school children who had paid a visit to Parliament. A statement was made by the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts on the day. She said a museum in Mampong will honor Tete Kwashi, the man who brought cocoa to Ghana.
It is expected that a year from now, when we celebrate our annual Chocolate Day, we will be back in Mampong, Equiapem, to outdoor a modern facility that takes visitors through the entire production chain of chocolate, from farm to supermarket.
In contributing to the statement, some MPs noted the benefits of chocolate.
Eating cocoa or taking chocolates will not increase our cholesterol levels. In fact, it's known that it will rather reduce our cholesterol levels. It will protect us against hypertension and diabetes. And Mr. Speaker, those who waste their time on other aphrodisiacs and things that will enhance them, taking a hot cup of cocoa would even enhance your libido, your performance as a Ghanaian.
In as much as this museum is coming up, for so many years and decades, the people of Mampong have been able to hold the cocoa, producing it before it got to other places of our country.
The minority and majority leaders emphasized the need to encourage young people to recognize the day as Chocolate Day and not Valentine's Day.
The young ones that you have referred to, they still are associated with 14th February, Valentine's Day. They still associate it with romantic love. It could be to your wife, it could be to your children, it could be to girlfriends, to those who have them. I'm not interested in asking in what quantities or how, in what numbers they may have them. That we share the joy and romance. Chocolate is meant for them to know that as we grow, we must show affection and love.
Let me dissociate myself from the statement made by the minority leader when he said that people may wish their girlfriends apart from their wives. Happy Valentine's Day. The Speaker, far it be from me. For those of us who can openly declare that our hands are clean, we can only wish our loved ones happy Valentine's Day.
Second Deputy Speaker Alban Bagbin suggested more be done for Tete Kwashi, the man who brought cocoa from Fernando Po.
We take a break. New Day returns shortly.
On February 15, 2012, a highway was inaugurated.
The important thing is that it is a Ghana project.
And I really appreciate the George Bush motorway.
6 years on, close to 300 deaths, over 3,000 road crashes, and 1,876 persons injured.
We still wait for people to lose their kids. Well, why? Just want to know why.
And pray to God that the good Lord touches the heart of the president and the minister.
Where are the additional bridges, and when will crossing at unauthorized places stop?
It's a disaster in waiting that we should all pray against.
TV3 presents Dangerous Highway, a road safety documentary by Portia Gabor.
Welcome back. So now let's do newspaper headlines. We'll start off with Daily Statement, and it says, Minister of Tourism, Cocoa Day to promote business. Also, the police has cautioned us to beware of criminals on Accra's busy stretches. Also, President warns that there is no space for criminals. And then finally, MPP flags go half-mast for Apia Menka. Certainly, that is bad news for us.
I mean, he rest in peace. Yes. One of the very finest industrialists we've had in this country, and how it's helped, you know, a lot of people. It looks as if 2018 has started a very bad note for us, from KB Asante to Apia Menka to all the others in between. May they find rest. And I hope that we're finding replacements for them, and that we're able to tap from their rich experience. Because for businessmen like him who've been able to help people, and himself as well, they've charted a certain course. I don't know if we have tapped really into their expertise, because some of the problems that we're having now, and we always want to present the picture as if what they have done before is a new thing that we're trying to do. I don't believe in that. If somebody has done it before, you can always go and learn from the person and make what the person has done better than what you have, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. So may they rest in peace.
Yeah, but the police is also cautioning the general public to be aware of, you know, criminals on the streets of Accra, and this is a reality. I have had people I know personally who have gone to buy phones on the streets of Accra, and I've gone home with key soap instead, or any brand of soap.
Don't buy from the streets. Go to the shops.
Yes, certainly. But Johnny, the reality on the ground is you still have people hawking on the streets, and you still have people buying up by the streets because of financial issues. Truth be told, it's cheaper on the streets, and you could bargain for something that you can afford. Whereas most people don't have that income that you and I may have to offer them the opportunity to actually enter a shop. Yes, the argument will be, why go on the street and put yourself at risk? Because yes, it doesn't assure you that. Johnny, let me just end, because it's the reality. I haven't bought on the street before, but of course you think it's a colleague I'm even talking about. You'd ask yourself, why would someone go on the streets to buy, say, a Samsung phone or iPhone when you know there's a shop demarcated for that? But it's because of the price hikes. Because the person who's selling it in the shop has considered how much he's paying for rent, has considered electricity, air conditioning, and so the price does go up. But of course, it doesn't mean when you go on the streets it's any better, because you're not assured of the quality of the product you go with. But the truth is, people don't have that money to enter the shop.
The thing, and perhaps the points we are missing is that the guys who sell on the streets, they buy from these shops and bring it up there. I'm sure you also do know that when people go to, say, the Chinas and the rest to import phones, they have grade A, grade B, grade C. So you could have the same specifications, but then the quality depreciates by way of grading. Okay, so why would you want to go and buy a phone by the roadside, no matter what it is? And sometimes, look, somebody has an iPhone X. Is by the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, by the roadside. There's no charger, there's no earpiece, nothing. You are not even sure if the operating system is what it is. And the person says, oh, it is 400 Ghana. It doesn't make sense any day. Because how much does a regular Samsung phone even cost? So it is greed, and perhaps people wanting to live above their means that pushes people to want to buy from the roadside. Look, if you walk into a credible phone shop, whichever it is, and you buy a phone at 400 Ghana cedis, you are assured of quality, you are assured of warranty, and if you have a problem with the phone, you can bring it back, you know, and you can even get your email correct. So if the phone messes up, you can get it fixed for you. There have been instances where people have gone to buy phones which are fake. They take it to, say, a Samsung shop to get it fixed, and they tell them, well, your phone is not even an original phone. What do you do? And how do you get back your money? I mean, so trying to cut corners doesn't help anybody. People put themselves out for people to cheat them. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how well you use the very little you earn. Because if you can afford a 250 Ghana cedis phone, and you would rather go and trade for something that's 600 Ghana but is 25 Ghana, and then eventually you come back and you spend another 25. In a year you could spend more than 250.
Yeah, but that's your thinking rationally.
Well,
but unfortunately,
for me, the police cautioning people, that's good. But I also think that they should also be around these places if they know that the criminals are there. I mean, just a policeman running around or walking around that place will put some of these criminals, because the person, it is not everything that you can go into a shop to buy. I mean, if you go to the Nkrumah Circle area, for instance, they sell all kinds of stuff, okay, things that you don't need to rush into a shop to buy.
But right, are we not the same? Are we not the same people who keep saying that the AMA should decongest the pavements? Yes, are we not the same people who say that we should not have people selling on the street?
But they come back,
because we encourage them by buying from them on the streets.
No. So the point, if we get talking about the hawking, that's a different ballgame altogether. But so far as they are there, there are going to be people.
It's not just the hawking. Those who have the phones and tell you to swap your phone for whatever, they are there.
But they don't have. Most of them don't have structures. They walk about.
There is the
pedestrian
market, which was set up for people like this. If you want to hawk or sell your phone or whichever it is, you can get into the pedestrian market. Even if you're roaming just the market, you don't have a store, you're roaming the market, you will still find people who will come and buy from you. I think that the basic thing is that security is not the primary concern of the police, because we are also to be responsible for our security. And I'm saying that if you say you earn as low as 400 Ghana or at 300 Ghana, and so you want to cut corners, you can't go into the shop to buy it. When you buy it and they give you the soup and you go home, how would you get the money that you
but I think you've shifted from the argument, because
why is the concentration on phone? How many of our people buy phones? I think that if you go around in Nkrumah Circle, even around the New Plant Station and the several other stations around the circle, there's a lot of hawking and vending there. It's only about phone. People buy clothing on the street. There are people who are hawking these second-hand jeans on their arms, and they're going around. And I mean, all kinds of things happen. So for me, it is good the police is warning, but I'm suggesting that at least there should be 1 or 2 police men or women
who should be patrolling the place.
At least, yes, because sometimes these criminals, by just seeing them, will go away. Sometimes it is not only about the phone. You just rushing into a trotro and someone stops you and says, hey, this is what I am offering for sale. And before you realize, you've been somehow dealt with in a very bad way. So I think when they are around there, it helps. I mean, in the rush hour, a lot of things happen. Pickpockets are there, okay? Those who snatch people's bags are there. But when they see these policemen there, they can easily be taken care of. So it's good to warn people.
You honestly think that the presence of a policeman or maybe 2 or 3 around Circle, Tiptoe Lane will prevent people from perpetuting fraud or
it may serve as a deterrent. It could scare them a bit.
Look, I live in Kaneshie for a long time. And pickpocketing was very rife for Kaneshie for a long time, to the extent that they have big napkins. You know, they'll pick your stuff and hold it on one end. You search them, you won't find them. The police were there. These were police with batons, police with rifles. It didn't deter anybody.
But I'm sure it got a couple of them. Because Johnny, the point is, for the pickpocket, sometimes you actually identify that it's, say, Bright who took it, and I'm following Bright, but I'm alone. I can't fight Bright. And the fear is, once I do that, I may be lynched by his supporters. And so if you have some police around, I could just say, well, I think it's this gentleman who has done it, and so, you know, you arrest them, or you be helped to check if it's truly Bright. But when you don't have anyone, you just look on aloof, and then you have to go.
You see, Johnny, if they patrol, I am saying this because in Nkrumah Circle, for instance, used to be a very nasty place. So just one policeman, Sally turned that place into a very decent environment. So somehow it will help. So I'm just hoping that, well,
so we should get back to the Sally for Mangwa days where you'd be asked to sweep if you later,
but of course,
or you'd be asked to win.
But even that is better than putting them in prison.
But you see, the whole point, then we come back to the whole point, that those who are hawking there, if we encourage them by buying from them, and by encouraging them, we then are endorsing, if we ask the police to go and be there, because people will be having clothes on their hands and they will be selling, and people may be tempted to buy. We are gradually endorsing, because we know what the situation is in Takrady as we speak. All the 200,000 that they spent to clear the people of the pavement. It's come to naught.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks, the people are back.
Because
we know the situation in Ashanti region.
Unfortunately, when the system that doesn't work, it's not functional enough.
The system, we must help the system to. We must help the system to work.
Agreed.
If the AMA spent a lot of money decongesting the
but they came
place.
back.
No,
you and I.
no. But right now, as we speak, the AMA spent money to clear the Nkrumah Circle. We are excited. When you walk past there, you feel okay. How do we ensure that the people don't come back? It is not the role of the AMA alone, because we do know that the UN says 500 people to 1 policeman. We do know that the last records that came, we had over 800 people to 1 policeman. So already we have a shortfall. Now you're asking them to provide what they don't have to solve what problem that we could solve by not engaging in those things.
Johnny, I
don't know.
You see,
it's not gone off.
We're not reinforcing that the hawkers should be there. However, in this country where we are at this particular point, we know that they are still there. And so we're not saying people should buy from there, but supposing. That's why I agree with Brian when he says it's not only about those who are actually even going to engage them to buy. There are those pickpockets who are walking around. No one asked them to be there, but they are there. And so what do we do about those ones? The few who will still remain there remain because they know the police will not, or the task force will not be able to get them.
And I'm saying that if you make yourself susceptible to crime,
that's a different issue.
If you have asked the ladies whose bags have been snatched from them and their phones have been nicked from them, it is because they have the stuff and they want to flaunt it when they get to those.
Is it always the case?
No.
Nothing shows.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. For example, take this example. You know where the Ebony restaurant is? Right. You know, they make very good pies. You get to that joint and you find a lot of youngsters from the GIG and others. You know, they have their bags, it's strapped there, and they are constantly on the phone, even in the trotro. And they are sitting, hold on, and they are sitting by the window, knowing full well that that's a crime zone. Now then somebody comes there, distracts them, snatches their phone, and they start complaining. How does the policeman help with that?
So Johnny, how does me using my phone attempt to attract you when you have decided to do your wrong anyway? Trust me, even if that phone was in the pocket, they will still attempt to pick it. And that's why they are pickpockets. You don't need to be flaunting it before they attack you.
When I go to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, when I go to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, knowing the situation around the Tiptoe Lane, for example, I don't walk around there flaunting my stuff. My hand is in my pocket. My back pocket is properly locked.
And so you haven't been, your pocket hasn't been.
Johnny,
no,
you see,
you're just fortunate.
You don't know. It's not about fortunate. You need to be. You need to protect yourself too.
The point is, you see, Johnny, the point here is this. You see, you've gone and come back to the same point. See, the police, okay, they have a duty. Now, anywhere that we have agreed that people should congregate, it is a duty of the police to protect them.
Right.
Forget about them, people selling phones on the street. In Nkrumah Circle, for instance, it's a place where people congregate to go to their homes or come to the center of a crowd. It is the duty of the police to be there so that
there's no argument about that.
Yes, I can hold my phone and make a call because I am in distress and I need a savior. It is not the citizens because it is a crime zone. When I'm distressed, I can't. What is the job of the police?
But you also do know
what is the job of the police?
If we, at this point, if you go to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle or any place that's been decongested, it is easier to go and come to and fro because the pavements are freer.
It is true.
Hold on. So the pavements are freer.
Yes.
As soon as we have those people mixed up, it becomes a crowded place. As soon as the crowd builds up, that's where people will just tap you and your focus will be on the tap, and before you know your stuff is taken from you.
Even when there are no hawkers, between 4, 5, 6, 7, in Nkrumah Circle, the Accra station is such a busy place.
So don't make it worse.
So
don't make it worse.
Johnny, it is the job of the police at peak hours to be at these centers to ensure that people who are moving to their homes are safe. Forget about the fact that the people should be secure. Yes, we are.
You see,
but like the scene Amma just narrated. Look at Amma rushing to go and pick a car at New Plant Station to go home.
Okay.
Around 6, the peak hour, and her bag is snatched. She looks around, and there's no one to go and say please, my bag is, and the young man is walking leisurely because there's no policeman there. Okay, so we're not saying that we're encouraging people to buy, but we're saying that at the peak, our people congregate at these places. They move there, and so we need some protection. Why is that place a kind of a free-for-all situation at night when there are no policemen there? But during the day, when the policemen are there, you see some level of decency. Why? So please, we're not saying people should hawk or vend items there, but we're saying that it is good for the police to caution us.
But you said that you can't go to the shop to buy everything.
Of course, you can walk up to you.
We cannot be a developing country forever. At some point,
and we're doing the development.
No. You see, that's what's the reality. The reality is that 200 years from now, we will still be a developing country.
Because our punishments are still not deterrent enough.
No.
That's why AMA will sack people in the morning. By night, they will be back. Look, because burning their tables doesn't change anything for them.
Travel to the States.
Truth is, they have to
travel to the States.
That is the ideal situation.
Go to New York City.
That is the ideal situation.
It is not the ideal situation. People have made it happen. We can make it happen.
Yes, but it doesn't start in the
you see, slow down.
The truth of your country.
When I was 4 years old, I heard my father talk about developing country. In fact, it was third world country. That was the terminology. I am gone past 30, and we are still talking about developing country because we say the economy of our country permits these things. Are you kidding me?
It's not only the economy. There are so many factors.
We need to let people stop it.
You know, I don't agree with you when you say the police because our numbers are more. We outnumber them. They can't patrol these areas.
It is because of some of these things. That's why today people will still board Ayalolo bus knowing that they need to use their pass cards, and then they will ask the driver,
yeah.
Yes, of course.
We are still
because the driver will still allow them.
A third world country mentality. Yeah. Would you travel to the States or to South Africa and get on a bus knowing that you don't have the pass?
Because I know the conductor wouldn't even look my way.
Beautiful.
To pay.
So we need to start letting our people know that we have gotten to the stage where some of these things we cannot accept them no more.
Which nobody is denying. But Johnny, until we get there, the police will have to be
at these centers. The time to start is now.
Yes, it is true. But the police is now. But the police will have to be there to stop these criminals until we get to a point where the police can sit in their office and will be able to control the crowd at the Nkrumah Circle as it is done in other places.
You see?
So don't just paint an ideal situation all of a sudden.
See, right. Go to
I work at Adabraka. I close at 5 p.m. I'm rushing home to pick my kid.
Right.
I want to buy tissue paper. And Johnny is telling me that I should drive to, I should pick a car to Accra Mall, buy the tissue paper.
You can get a tissue in a shop at Adabraka if you want.
Wait. Now, when I get to the New Plan station, there are vendors there who are walking around the vehicles, vending these items. Why are you saying I shouldn't buy them? Your job is to protect me from being defrauded.
Your job is also to be a responsible citizen, but not encouraging
my responsibility is to move from my office and pick my child and go home.
For as long as you keep telling the politician to do the right thing, you as the citizen must do the right thing as well.
Yes, that's the point.
So that in spite of all our education, we do know that when we get to the filling station, want to buy fuel, we should turn off our engine. But we do it. So it is your responsibility. Then, when there's an explosion, we come and we blame the fire service or the EPA for what? For doing what? For doing what?
You shouldn't. But
so we must be responsible
so you
for ourselves.
agree with Bright when he says that the police need to make sure that in places where there are crowds,
but I'm saying
people are secure because you can protect yourself. But you will know that people
if Bright leaves his office at Adabraka to go and pick his child, and he sees tissue on the streets. He must not stop at the tissue place.
Oh, please,
Come on. Do you know what?
Do you know how long it will take Bright to even attempt? We are not saying
it's about how long. It's about how long.
No, can you
imagine? What is wrong is wrong.
That's exactly. No
what
one
is
has
wrong is wrong.
You are making it seem like we are.
All right. We just started a conversation on the background. The Daily Graphic begins the morning and says that Chief Justice probes 2 court registrars over embezzlement of funds. The photographs are here. And the big one, Appointment Committee gives Amidou the nod. A smiling photograph of him here. And Business Finder says, scrap inflation targeting policy, economist to the Bank of Ghana. We're also told by the Daily Graphic that NCA calls telcos to order, gives them up to the end of February to improve services, and Cocoa Board operates on $2 billion budget deficit due to fall in cocoa price on the international market. Those are some of the stories I have with my guest this morning. Dr. Abed Jinapo is from the University of Education, is to my extreme left. Doc, good morning once again. Good morning, sir. Hope you're great.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for your time with us. A member of the NPP's communication team, Takasalia, is also here. Good morning, too.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing well.
Thanks for your time. And then the former member of parliament for the Nanton constituency, member of the NDC, Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, is also here. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you're doing great, too.
I'm doing great.
Okay, this morning you're rapping on some high patois. I don't know if...
I actually speak patois.
Oh, I see. That's great.
I've never been a Rastaman before.
Oh, I see.
I'm a Pan-Africanist.
Oh, okay.
And I thought you are one too.
I have. All right. Gentlemen, welcome to the show this morning. Let's start with Mr. Martin Amidou. The appointment committee by consensus approved the nomination as special prosecutor moments after his grueling vetting last Tuesday. We're told by the chairman, Mr. Jefosewusu, that all the ACP members, with the exception of one, voted in favor of the approval. He, however, did not give a name of a member who did not vote in support of a nominee. He said that the committee would present a report to Parliament for consideration, adoption, and possible approval. You saw the vetting more than 7 hours, and Daily Graphic has a detailed story on that. Dr. Jinapo, let me start from your end there. You were not, I guess, expecting anything different from the appointment committee about giving the nod to Mr. Amidou.
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. I think almost everybody who watched the vetting probably would have come to the conclusion that Mr. Martin Amidou is up to the task in terms of performing that duty. And I'm not surprised, because if you look at his CV, I mean, he has a pedigree of knowledge when it comes to the law. And he has extensive experience, and he's a very confident man. There's no doubt about it. I've always said that, and I think Honorable Mutala will be in a better position to speak to it. When such vetting is being done, what is being looked for? Are you looking at the knowledge of the individual within the spectrum of the job being assigned to that person, which should, of course, should be a variable, whether the person is qualified or not. But it's also important and instructive to know the demeanor, the character, the individual who we see. So if I look at what happened, I mean, there are a number of things that we didn't know about Martin Amidou that at least were unveiled during the vetting. I didn't even know that it was called Ben Kaiser. And I didn't even know that the name is Anansi Slawa. And some of the things that have been said about him, I mean, he was in a better position to more or less to speak to them. But one interesting thing, if not two, that I wish and pray that Mr. Amidou, moving forward, if, as we are told, the committee, appointments committee unanimously approved him, he's supposed to go to Parliament for debate, and I'm very positive that Parliament will approve of him. But I think he needs to understand and appreciate the fact that he finds himself in a new position that probably is quite different from what the number of positions that he has held. And I say this because, if you quite remember, there was a question that was posed to him regarding Obeda Samwa, whether he was his boss. And he said Obeda Samwa is not his boss.
You think he was wrong?
Well, I think so. I think so because if Obed was not his boss, he was a deputy attorney general to the attorney general. Who is the current attorney general to him? The current attorney general, what's her name? Is it Gloria Kufu?
Madam Gloria.
Gloria Kufu. So how does Mr. Amidou see Gloria Kufu?
Because he's a senior to her when it comes to...
No, he works under her. He works under her. Martin Amidou works under Gloria Kufu by the nature of his job. He works under Gloria Kufu. And I can say for a fact, I mean, if we check, if Martin Amidou probably was not called to bar before Gloria Kufu, maybe they are colleagues or contemporaries. How does he see His Excellency the President? How does the Vice President see the President? So if you have this orientation and mindset that being a boss, I mean, you work under people, and probably the people that you work under are people that maybe you entered the journalism field before. You get it. So it's quite a little bit worrying. And you can say for a fact, there's no, even the question was posed, his relationship with the council or the board that is supposed to supervise his activities. And his mindset and the way he sees it is quite different. When you have an individual of that nature, if you are not careful, it might lead to what? Insubordination. And I think there are remnants of that from his past. You look at his response to, I mean, the rumor that was being bundled around relative to his relationship with Professor Mills. We're being told that, look, he was being insubordinate. And I wouldn't be surprised, even though he says that was not the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if he happens to smack off that character because of his orientation and mindset. So as Ghanaians, our interest is not just the individual Martin Amidou, right, but our interest is his performance. And I believe that, look, all these discussions that we are making relative to what he's going to be doing, we want him to be a good and a better person. And I would wish that he lets go a little bit of his ego. I mean, looking at him, he's overly egoistic. There's no doubt about it. And he feels, I mean, I don't want to say self-aggrandizement, but he thinks that he knows all, but you can't know everything.
You think he should be a servant?
Yes, okay. He should be a servant, and I think he's been a servant. I mean, his track record is impressive. But when you find, and that is where I'm tempted to believe that he's had a number of challenges during his career. You know, Martin Amidou was the running mate to Professor Mills. The second time he was not nominated. This is not the first time where we've had somebody nominated 3 times. But Umia was nominated 3 times by Nanado. So it tells you that there was something wrong somewhere. You get a point. Apart from that, he was appointed as Attorney General. Attorney General, he had a problem with Professor Mills. Notwithstanding what explanation is being given, definitely there was a problem. Whether he was fired, whether he resigned, there was a problem. And even during the interview, during the vetting, he said he was appointed by President Mahama as, he was given a certain position. He's a counsel to something of that sort. And even there was a problem. I don't want it to become repetitive. He has a 7-year tenure. The mandate that is being given to him is so important and crucial to the development of this country that he cannot and should not let his ego overtake him such that he will not be able to perform. And I think the onus also lies on the president to give him a proper orientation. Because I believe that the success or failure of this office is going to be tied to His Excellency the President, because that's his legacy.
I'm grateful. Saka, others have also raised the concern that this is the man who admitted that at a point in time in his career, he's been compelled to drop prosecuting an individual because that person was the nephew of perhaps the person who appointed him, or the person he was serving. And so he could cave in as a human being. But the others say that, look, that might have happened, but he has other pluses that we should rely on instead of looking at that one admission of failure to make a general assessment of him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I get there, I mean, Doc make a lot of points. Good morning to our cherished viewers. First of all, I think that those who were doubting as to the propriety or the suitability of Martin Amidou, I mean, 2 days ago could confirm that indeed he is the man cast for the job. I mean, I do not have problem with the demeanor. Indeed, the moment that we are, we need a human being of that nature. We need somebody.
What kind of nature are you talking?
Yeah, we need somebody whose demeanor itself could be so scary to the extent that by hearing the name or by even seeing him, you would drop whatever that you wish to have done. That is the reason why I don't say that he wants him to put the fear of God in would be committed of corruption. Because look, we cannot continue to do business as usual.
Saka, we shot people for corruption, but we're still talking about
yes. You see, we cannot do business as usual. We want people who come to office and take the posture of, laissez-faire attitude. People will come and be smiling over everything, and then goading people on to commit corruption. This is a man with that demeanor that we are talking about, that temperament that we are talking about, was able to individually, in his private capacity, actually take on people who corrupted this nation, got conviction for us, and we are now in the process of retrieving the money with that demeanor. So it is not about demeanor. If that demeanor, no, it's not in you alone. I mean, I've heard other people say those things. That his temperament and all those things was not friendly. You are coming to an office instead of you to smile. Why should he smile? When we need a job to be done, a job that to ensure that Ghanaians, those who are corrupt, are actually the fear of God is actually put to them and all that. Then you say that, oh, when he come, even though he has knowledge in the law and all that, this is a man that was methodically taught through choice. The president did not just get up or got up. And indeed, the unanimity of his acceptance by Parliament, that did not come as a surprise to anybody. Because even the wider space, I mean, his appointment itself received that from all over the world. People say that this is the man that we've been looking for all this while. And it leaves no doubt in anybody's mind that indeed Nanado wants to fight corruption. And look at, I mean, anybody who is being grilled for 9 hours, by all means, you will get one or two things that will be controversial and people will talk about. And that is the reason why Doc is talking about he saying that Obeda Samo was not his boss and all that. It is in a context. I mean, they both were working together and all that, and one was superior to the other. If you are superior to me, does not mean that, I mean, you're a boss and therefore whatever that you say and all that.
The director of communications of the NPP, is he or she not your boss?
Well, I mean, I can choose, depending on the context.
What context?
Depending on the context. The context that Amidu
in the
uses.
NPP, and you are a communicator under that office. He's not your boss.
I'm saying that is subject to argument, subject to anybody interpretations and all that. All right. But that was his. He believed he wasn't a boss. They were working colleagues. One was superior than the other in terms of their workings and all that, but not necessarily a boss. I mean, we can go and look for the definition of who a boss is and the context in Africa, how we use the word boss and all that. But you were saying that at a point he had to drop certain cases because it was said to him that the president
that the man is a nephew of the former
president. You see, he did not just put it that way, so simplistic, that, oh, that was the nephew of the former president and therefore don't prosecute the person. He talked about certain spokes that were put in his way, and that the deputy in cahoot with all of them, I mean the powers that be, did all that. And he could not as individual. You see, it's a teamwork. That's the reason why he himself has alluded to that. It's a teamwork. And if the whole government is not in support of him prosecuting somebody, he as Attorney General alone cannot continue to have that individualistic policy that I will prosecute no matter what, even when there is no docket and all that. So to that extent, you know our setting. You know the Ghanaian setting. That when you are at a place and your superior is not interested in a certain way or a certain policy, it's so difficult for, unless, of course, you decide to resign. He even said, you remember about this matter about him resigning, writing an apology letter to Professor Mills and all that. That was not a revelation in the when he talked about it the last time. He even wrote, during the time of the NDC, he wrote about it, and there are letters to that, I mean, he was coerced to do so by senior members of the North and senior members of the NDC. And all that, and he actually said all those things, but that does not mean that he is wicked. The fact that within the NDC he has had problems. I mean, if somebody like him had that strong antipathy towards corruption, it would be very difficult for anybody to live in the fold of the NDC. You'll be given a position, you have problems with them. I, for instance, given a position within NDC, I have a problem with them because what I believe in is completely stranger to what they believe in. They do not believe in fighting vigorously corruption. That was the reason why Professor Mills and others, put a lot of spokes in his way when he wanted to fight the Woyomi case. The NDC were all over the place defending Woyomi, even though Matanamidu had a different, opinion. And that culminated in his leaving office. So, by all means, like as I told you, any anti-graft crusader working with the NDC would definitely have problems with them. And it came as no surprise to some of us that Matanamidu had problems. But with the MPP, we know that is how he is. We know that this is a man that is of his own. This is a man that will not go to all manner of shenanigans and all that. He is a man that believes in himself. And it actually showed in the vetting. He believed in himself. And you can decide to call it arrogance. You can decide to call it whatever. But I think that we need a man that would not let the office become weak, the office that is going to occupy. That office is so important. That office, we need to change things in this country. And changing things need somebody with strong mentality, somebody with principle, somebody with proven track record of integrity. And you cannot bypass Matanamidu when you are looking for such a person. And therefore, for him to go there and exhibit so excellently and prove the point that indeed Nanado is not coming to joke. Nanado knows very well that Matanamidu will be prosecuting his own people. He knows very well. He could have just taken anybody who would just come and window, prosecute and all that. But he meant business, and therefore he meant somebody. He needed somebody with the mold of Matanamidu, who will come and do prosecution, not just doing prosecution. You remember the NDC came to power in 2008. They did all manner of prosecutions, but they never even convicted even one person because of the porous nature of their prosecutions and all that. We need somebody like this, who individually could prosecute Woyomi, whatever, and so forth.
So for you, the battle against corruption is won with Ms. Hamidu in the seat.
Pardon?
The battle against corruption is won with Ms. Hamidu in the seat.
I mean, with Hamidu is in the seat is part of, the reason why it will be won. It's not just, the finished article. I mean, there are other mechanisms that we have put in place, including people who do not like corruption, people who are competent enough and has integrity to actually move this nation forward. It is not only about Matanamidu. Even the president himself, I mean, his demeanor and all that shows that this is somebody that would not condone corruption and all that, and therefore needed people like Matanamidu to come and complement it. So it is not only Matanamidu.
All right.
It is the government in its entirety that is ready to fight corruption.
I'm grateful. Saka Salia is a member of the NPP's communication team. Comrade Mutala, the appointment committee has given him the nod, and you had your colleague panelists make their submissions. What do you make of the man in the seat now?
Well, let me say good morning to my colleagues and you and your cherished viewers, and of course the good people of Natong constituency. Interesting points are made this morning by my brother and a friend. And did I hear him say that when the NDC came into power into 2008, because the people who were given the responsibility to prosecute were not competent, that's the reason why we couldn't prosecute and convict people. Martin Amidu was there. Now you are now questioning the competence of the very person you have praised him.
He wasn't attorney.
I'm saying that
Martin,
hold on, Martin, yes, until 2012, from 2008 up to 2012.
And he only served for 1 year.
Oh, please, it doesn't still matter. I'm saying that from 2008 to 2006, and the NDC was in office, Martin Amidu was given the opportunity to have been the Minister for Justice and Attorney General. Who did he prosecute and convict? That is the point. Now you are telling us that he single-handedly prosecuted Woyome. You are not stating the facts. Martin Amidu didn't prosecute Woyome. And as a matter of fact, the NDC government went to court. If you want to make statements that are factual. But let me come to the issue of the vetting.
You went to court to do what?
Please, Martin Amidu went. I'm saying that this NDC government.
The civil aspect of the case.
Hold on, he's now talking about civil aspect.
I listen
to you. Just have the patience. You are not talking about civil aspect. We'll come to that. I'm going to pick every single inaccurate statement that you have peddled here. He's talking about the fact that you have a president who is not corrupt. Go and read Manasseh's folder. Manasseh had written and accused no less a person than the President of the Republic of Ghana for conniving to rob the people of this country at Boston. Manasseh said, hold on.
Are they not allegations?
I'm coming. I'm coming. Please. Oh, you see, I'm coming.
Are they not allegations?
I will make that. I'm making a point. If you could just allow me. He's asking me whether Manasseh is a court. Martin Amidu was a court.
Okay.
That's the logic. I mean, interesting logic this morning. I am saying that, and I'll tell you why Manasseh's folder is important. Manasseh has accused no less a person than His Excellency the President, and said that the President personally reprimanded the Minister for Energy for even attempting to constitute a committee to investigate the thievery at Boston. Not a single member of government, including the incompetent communicators of the MPP, raised a finger about that. I'm saying that if we want to go by the logic that you are espousing, that allegations that were made, by the way, even Martin Amidu himself admitted at the vetting that the numerous allegations he leveled against President Mahama and his appointees were based on perception. Interestingly, the same person claimed repeatedly on the program that he is a defender of the Constitution, an advocate of constitutional rule. The same Constitution tells you cannot pronounce anybody guilty until proven guilty beyond any doubt by a competent court of jurisdiction. This same person came and said that they were perception. And in one breath he said intelligence. And then when they asked him, he said intelligence because I was a former Minister of Interior. Wait a minute. If today the former Minister of Interior and the NDC comes out to say that you are a gay because he has speaks intelligence, if I have perception that you are a criminal because I perceive you to be so, now you malign people, you destroyed the integrity of people, you call them names, you took them to your own court, your own judge, you are the own jury, convicted them without a scintilla of evidence. And then when you appear before a committee under oath, they put the question to you, then you say it was perception. And I'm saying that it's worrying. It is not about NDC or NPP. If today I come out and make allegations against any other person, and I don't have any evidence, you think that is the way our democracy should move? We have never had any government under the 4th Republican Constitution that allegations of corruptions are made against that government in their first year than this government. The extent to which you have leading members of your party who have publicly stated that you need to pay 20,000 to 30,000 to have access to the president. The president has become a corruption clearing agent. Now, even the seat for cash, before the committee came out with their report, the president cleared everybody. The president met the media and said that every single allegations made against my appointees have been investigated by independent bodies. I ask you, with all due respect, ask His Excellency the President, which independent body investigated the thievery at Boston? Which independent body?
You call it thievery?
Yes, it's thievery.
It's thievery. I will
tell you why. Oh,
so is it?
Who said the committee to investigate the thievery at Boston?
Murtala Mohammed, aren't you?
And even the BNI also
you see, aren't you also going the same tangent? If you're calling this thievery, you're not also going.
He's not even appreciating the issues, the things that have been done by his own government. He's sitting here telling us that a committee was set up to investigate the thievery at Boston. I'll call it thievery, and I'll tell you the reason. No committee was set up. We were there when the minister for energy.
You don't think that a court should pronounce what you're saying?
You see, take the same pill you have given us repeatedly, and you think that the governments have a proverb. If you think that people can take warm water and sleep, also take it and sleep. Now, every single statement Martin Amidu made, admitted at the program, because specific questions were put to him, and he said it was perception. Now, I am amazed that people who would want to defend constitutionalism, democratic rule, can go and make conclusive statement where they describe President Mahama as a looter, the entire NDC as bunch of looters. At a time when he was doing that, he knew too well, in the heart of his heart, that he was peddling falsehood just to malign. Of course, if he wasn't, it's not. Please, you don't express. Can I? Will you tell him to listen to me?
Saka, you
I listen to you, Saka. When you tell me expressing an opinion, you don't express an opinion, and through that you jump into conclusion, pronounce people guilty. I can express an opinion. I think there is corruption. But I can't say that you are corrupt when I have no evidence to that effect. And I'm saying he was able to write those things because there wasn't anybody to check him. When people subjected him to questions under oath, he knew that lying under oath would be extremely consequential. He said, no, it was on perception. In one breath, he said, oh, intelligence. And the intelligence is that somebody told him. If I sit today and somebody came and told me that you stole money, and I'm not prepared to tell you who told you, and I just say yes because you are a thief because somebody told me, it could be hallucinating. It could be a dream. But let me come to the substantive issue. You see, this is not the first time that we have people being vetted under 8-9 hours. My former boss, Dr. Spiogabra vetting, lasted over 8 hours. And it's amazing today. Mr. Martin,
was it not 6 hours?
No, it was more than that.
No, it cannot be more.
It was more.
It cannot be
more.
Whether
it was.
I think it was around 6 hours.
What is it about?
I think that's the record.
He's now saying, what is it about? Spiogabra died to take a long time.
No, that doesn't matter. But I think it was just around 6 hours.
Statement. No, you see, I mean, these are insulting statements
you make. But because that position, it's not as, you know.
As what? Minister of Trade is not as
important. I think until.
Do you appreciate?
This one is a novelty.
I think until Mr. I think Spio
I am saying that Spio, you can go and check it. 8 hours, check it. Dr. Spiogabra. But you see, he claimed that, oh yes, Mr. Obera Samoa is not my boss. I was at the ministry before he came. I served under Honorable Abuga Pili. I call him my boss. I served under Honorable Ayerga as a deputy minister for information. I call him my boss. I served under Dr. Spiogabra, I call him my boss. As a matter of fact, I was sent to Minister of Trade as a deputy minister before Dr. Spiogabra was sent to Minister of Trade as a substantive minister. But that is my boss. Now, even in law, even at the bar, you call people your seniors because they have been called to the bar long before you. As a matter of fact, the people Mr. Obera Samoa taught law, and there is no denying the fact that he is a gem. You may have problems with him, but you see, he claimed that he did not want to make statements against people who wouldn't have the opportunity to respond. And that's his issue. Yet he made allegations against Professor Mills because he's aware he's dead. Hold on, on the same program. Now he made allegations against Professor Waisini because he's dead. The same person, one Honorable Haruna Idrisu, made a joke. Even at a time when after apologizing, this same man was not prepared to yield. As a matter of fact, and he claimed to be the protector of northern values. The same northern values tells you don't address people using your left hand. He used his left hand throughout. This is a pretentious person trying to protect and defend values. That is the point I'm making.
Do you think that these issues that you're raising will take or will make his job difficult?
Not at all. I'll come to. And he said that within the end, he said, look, Mr. Martin Amidu is not incorruptible than me, Mutala. I am saying this on national television. He is not more incorruptible than me. And I am in government, and there are several of my kind, thousands in the NDC, who are absolutely not corrupt. Absolutely. Now you tell me that within the NDC, because the NDC, Mr. Martin Amidu is incorruptible, he cannot. I served in that government. I am not corrupt. I have never been, and I will never be. And I'm saying that he's not incorruptible than those of us who served in that government. But you see, Let us get something very clearly. When you have such interviews or such vetings, you are one testing the capability and the ability of the person, and most importantly, the temperament. He came across as a very vindictive, abrasive, arrogant, intolerant person.
That's what that's what you saw.
Yes, he came across.
Okay.
Please, as a matter of fact, it is the opinion of Kennedy Ajapontu. It is not only my opinion. Please, I am saying that he came across as such a person, but that will not have an effect on his work. I have no doubt. I have not questioned his intelligence, his capability, and ability to do that. Not at all. But what I'm saying is that if you have a person who had written series of articles, chastised, maligned, insult, and convicted people, call them all manner of names, only for the person to appear before a committee and says, oh no, it was just perception. It was so-called intelligence. But let me make this conclusion. The criminal procedural processes cannot change with the appointment of Mr. Martin Amidu or not. It's still going to be the same thing. You go to court with evidence, and the evidence will be supported by law. If he is going to court with perception, with such abrasive things, he will be embarrassed big time. And let's get something very clear. The NDC unanimously supported the approval of Mr. Martin Amidu, even though we raised concerns about some of the things he said about the NDC. How do you know Sohien didn't support?
Did not support.
You see, I'm saying that the NDC,
officially we're yet to know.
The NDC did that because, look, we have absolutely nothing to hide. And we have said repeatedly that, look, we don't have any problem with anybody fighting corruption. The NDC has demonstrated that. As a matter of fact, we had people who were leading members of the NDC who were prosecuted under the NDC. Under this government, the Flagstaff House is considered a citadel for corruption, and the president is the chairman of the clearing agent. The Flagstaff House is the clearing agent.
These are also allegations.
Even Parliament confirmed the clearance.
Yes, until
so the president was right.
Comment until we comment.
The for what? The minority has a view.
Okay, please hold your fire.
Yes.
Comment. Have you wrapped up?
So the point I'm making is that it will not. Please, I mean, don't.
No, just 5 seconds.
It will not affect his work. I have no doubt at all. What I'm saying is that the processes, the criminal prosecutor processes, are going to be the same. What I expect Mr. Martin Amidu to do is to go by the assurances he gave the people of this country. And I have no doubt at all his competency, his ability. But the point is that he is going to work under a Minister for Justice and Attorney General. He must begin realizing that he has a boss. And the boss he is going to work
I guess you've raised that point. I'm grateful. All right. Okay, a quick one.
Yeah, if somebody, I mean, a bystander, hear Honorable Mutaka talk,
I'm not Mutala. You can't even pronounce.
Oh, Mutala talk. He would think that Martin Amidu is just like the Fifi Cotes and the NDC people who were vetted some time ago. No, come on.
Saka, please.
Oh, no, in the context. No, in the context. No, I want to. In the context. Please.
Ignore the name.
Please, can you let me talk?
Okay.
The person would
have thought that is one of the NDC appointees who went to Parliament, and when they were asked questions about things that they had said earlier on, they said, oh, it was political talk. We said it without any verifiable reason and all that. You remember? Please, let me finish. That is the reason why I use the word Fifi Kuti, Benyuado and Co. Because they went and changed their mouth and all that. Martin Amidu is not that type of person. Because look, he has a track record of actually living his ways. He individually prosecuted people that you could not prosecute. Martin Amidu, he prosecuted Waterville. I sort of he did that. So I'm saying that
I'm grateful.
It's not just saying that you people are corrupt. He's not just saying that you people in capacity by using Article 2.
In his capacity,
Article 2 of our Constitution. In that capacity. So I'm saying that he's not just saying that you people are corrupt. You cannot just say that it is just opinion or allegations. He had tested the law and got conviction and knew and therefore can come to that conclusion.
Which conviction?
He got conviction on what you mean, Waterville and all
this. Are you living in Kusumukaya?
Okay, all right. Okay, Saka, I am grateful. Let me get Dr. Jinapo in.
Therefore, he can clearly say that people are corrupt.
Saka, I am grateful. I'm grateful.
One or two things that needs to be clarified. I heard Honorable Mutala make the point that Saka is communicator and they are chopping tax. I mean, I don't think he's being paid by government. I would have expected him to remark.
I said that these Ghanaians, what your communicators, they chop. You know, these are the people who chop your money.
I believe he communicates for the MPP,
and not for
government. And I would think that he does that.
But the MPP is ruling Ghana, Doctor.
Oh no, but all the same. Let's
why? Okay,
but you see, right, very quickly. When you have somebody come to this country and listening to my very good friends, and that person happens to be a stranger, the person would think that probably Martin Amidu is an MPP man.
Yes.
You understand? At the point in time, Martin Amidu was the running mate to Professor Mills. And what it meant was that he was capable of being what? The president. Was capable of being the president. The point being made here is, this is how good the NDC saw him as an individual. As an individual. And if you remember, as at that time, Martin Amidu probably was speaking against Nanado. Because Nanado was contested. Yeah. So why has the tables changed? The tables have changed because politicians always have what? Interest. They don't have permanent friends. And all these allegations that have been made, and I said, look, I want to see Martin Amidu successful. And I believe every Ghanaian wants to see him what? A successful what? Special prosecutor. Because there's unanimity to the fact that, look, we hate corruption. And all these allegations that are being peddled around, whether the Flagstaff House is the seat of corruption, whether the president is the leader of corruption, Martin Amidu is coming. Martin Amidu will help unravel and solve all these things.
Can he really do this?
We hope.
Is he really?
Listen. I've said it. Let me tell you.
Office, not the man.
Let me tell you. I've said that. Look, the office of the special prosecutor is not going to be a panacea to solving what corruption issues is in this country. And the office of the special prosecutor cannot work in isolation. That is why the teamwork spirit of the person occupying that office is something that is worthy of what talking about. Because if Martin Amidu, let's say, says that Saka is corrupt, and he takes Saka to what? The court. And the court itself is corrupt. How are you going to get prosecution?
Right.
He takes the person to court. And at the court, as we speak, they don't have the infrastructure. How are you going to get prosecution? How are you going to get conviction? In fact, as it stands today, it's somewhere in the news that the state attorney office, they are short of what? Lawyers. And this guy is not going to work alone. He needs investigators, he needs prosecutors, he needs lawyers. He needs the necessary logistics. So this whole ecstasy and euphoria that is surrounding this, I think we need to be a little bit cautious. This particular appointment is supposed to be an addition to the fight against corruption, but it is not going to be a panacea to what?
Give me the daily guide. Let's quickly take a look at this.
Can I just make this quick statement?
5 seconds.
Even at the vetting, Mr. Martin Amidu himself indicated that I am not the one who is going to be doing the investigation. We have statutory bodies that are tasked with the responsibility to do such investigations. Now, when they are done with their investigation, then the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, in this case, if the Minister of Justice thinks that Mr. Martin Amidu should handle that, then he would then look at it and say that there's enough evidence for me to do what? It doesn't mean...
The Act 959 actually gives a special prosecutor's office the duty to do investigation.
You get something. So get something very clear.
Okay.
So they don't need anybody.
I am moving on.
They are going to be working with bodies such as Yoko, and even at the not collaboration. Not necessarily collaboration. What I'm saying is that those bodies are still going to engage in their constitutional mandated responsibilities of investigating crime. Now, if they investigate crime, they don't prosecute. They do the investigation. The decision to prosecute is in the hands of the Minister for Justice and Attorney General. Now, if you have a special prosecutor, the special prosecutor also has the responsibility to prosecute. Of course, under the direction of the Minister of Justice.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I'm not talking about.
Gentlemen, I am grateful. Let me move on.
It's important.
Gentlemen, I'm grateful. I think you've made a point.
No, I'm not.
You have made a point.
It's important. I stated. I'm not talking about clearance. What I'm saying is that he's going to be prosecuting. Those bodies are also going to engage in investigation. It doesn't mean that the responsibility of prosecution by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General is gone off. That is not what it is.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, I am grateful. Let me jump to the Daily Guide this morning.
That's what I said.
Daily Guide says that special petroleum tax cut to 13%. And we're told that the Ministry of Finance yesterday laid a special petroleum tax amendment bill 2018 that seeks to reduce the special petroleum tax of 15% to 13% to help reduce the prices of petroleum, which in recent times have seen upward adjustment. The special petroleum tax bill was introduced by the NDC in 2016 to shore up revenues generated from fuel prices when crude oil prices were plummeting. The new bill to reduce the tax was laid in Parliament by a Deputy Finance Minister. Now we're told that the committee is expected to report back to the plenary for general consideration and approval. Now, as soon as the bill was laid, members of the NDC said there was only a window dressing to addressing the high prices of petroleum products and that the tax ought to be completely scrapped for Ghanaians to have respite. The Deputy Minister, however, told the press after laying the new bill that the NDC people introduced that tax when they were in government. According to him, the initial tax was 17.5% when it was introduced, but was later reduced to 15% by the NPP government. He said the new rate is fixed and that any further increase in fuel prices will not affect the rate to help cushion consumers. He went on to say that the NPP, as a listening government, has heard the cries of Ghanaians about the high cost of fuel and would take further steps to help lessen the plight of Ghanaians. Saka, let me start with you. Efforts being made to bring down fuel prices after the recent demonstration. We're told that the special petroleum tax from 15% will be moved to 13% if Parliament agrees.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that a move by the NPP government dovetail into our grand agenda of ameliorating the sufferings of Ghanaians when it comes to fuel consumption and all that. You remember the NPP, when we came to power, we had to do a lot of interventions to ensure that the prices of petroleum do not escalate. For instance, I mean, a lot of nuisance taxes were removed and ESLA was also reduced. I mean, the two components within ESLA, the National Electrification Levy and the National Lighting Scheme, were reduced from 5% to 2% and 5% to 3% respectively. The excise duty was also removed and all that. So the special petroleum levy that the NDC actually introduced in 2016 actually also saw reduction from 17.5% to 15% by the NPP government. And we are now saying that because Ghanaians are still saying that petroleum prices are still going up, we are going to reduce it further from the 15% that we reduced it to, from the 17. We are now going to reduce it to 13%. I think that this is a very sensitive government. It's a government that we just do not just sit down and say. We do what we say. We walk our talk. And to me, in terms of energy, in terms of the fact that we even want to bring down the cost of production down, and that culminated in the fact that even in the 2018 budget, when we said that we're going to reduce domestic consumers who patronize electricity to by 13%, and the government has taken the move, written to PURC and all that. So I think that the government is doing everything under its sleeves to ensure that we ameliorate the sufferings of consumers and all that. In the past, I mean, we never saw some of these things. What they knew doing very well was what they did by introducing all manner of taxes. I mean, I don't think even the NDC can talk about this tax because these are the very people. You see, the hypocrisy is that these same people that actually introduce the tax by saying that, oh, the prices of the petroleum at the world market was going up, and therefore we needed to put this thing to generate money and all that. Even when it was reducing, when we were the world market, it reduced at a point to even $28 per barrel, and the NDC did not even reduce fuel. Now it's about $69 per barrel, and we are doing everything under our sleeves to ensure that where we have the power to reduce, we are doing it, because we have the power to take off some of the taxes, and we are doing it. We have the competence to ensure that the CD becomes stabilized, because look, there are factors that lead to petroleum increase, a price increase, and one is, the dollar rate, and that is the exchange rate and all that. And we have been able to stabilize the dollar relatively, within the 1 year that we've been in power. And that one alone, if it were the other way around, and if it were the NDC or any other government whose record shows that they are unable to keep the integrity of the dollar in check, I mean, the situation would have been different. Even though the world market price keep on rising, we are able to stabilize fuel prices for the benefit of everybody. And now we are going ahead to ensure that even some of the taxes that we have power to reduce, we are reducing it.
Why can't this tax be taken off completely? I mean, this was an issue when it was introduced. I mean, there were in Parliament, you could, if you recall, this special tax, the petroleum tax, was a big issue, where even the chairman of the Finance Committee, member of Parliament, I think NewDay in South, suggested that this tax is criminal and that it should be taken off. And yet, taking it off is becoming a problem. Why can't it be scrapped off totally?
No, you see, the fact of the matter is that you don't dislocate the economy in that way. The very moment you decide to take certain things, because you need to do it gradually. Even if we will take it off, we need to ensure, because look, the reason why it was introduced by the NDC, I don't think those reasons are no longer tenable today. And if those reasons are tenable, what we can do is that we can manage by reducing it, and still, have a balance between using the excess money that we get to do what the reason why the NDC introduced it, and to also help the consumer. But to say that we should just scrap it, it will dislocate the economy. You see, but what we can do, like I told you, is how we have
gradually
to
reduce
gradually at a point that we know that at this particular point we have gotten a solution to solving the opportunity cost that its exclusion would be. And I think that we have done well to that extent, and Parliament is committed to ensuring that they vote for this. And the hypocrisy that I was trying to talk about is that the people who actually introduce this levy or this tax are now telling us that, oh, we should scrap it, we should take it away. And they are not mindful of the fact that they put it there for a reason.
Saka, I'm grateful. Comrade, so it is going down to 13%, but some of the NDC communicators have suggested they should be taken off completely. Why?
Well, when I listen to my brother Saka, I'm wondering whether he's talking about Ghana. As a matter of fact, your party promised that it was a needless tax introduction, and therefore, when you are given the mandate, you are going to take it off. So we are just asking you to do. You did.
We said we'll reduce.
Oh, please, you never
and
said
this the second time we are doing the
in fact, you can check. You can just Google what the Minister for Energy, current Minister for Energy,
you Google and show.
You can deny that. You claim that you are not going to. I'll do that. You can deny that. You claim that you are going to take it off. We are asking you to do what you're supposed to do. Again, he's talking about the fact that they've been able to stabilize the exchange rate. And I'm asking whether he's speaking from Kosomokai. Hold on. We all understand English.
3%.
Oh, I listen to you. Will you listen to me? I beg you. In this country, as of January 2017, a gallon of petrol was sold at 14 cedis. Today, it's over 22 cedis. You sit here. Hold on, please.
At 18 cedis.
It's not true.
Oh, please.
It's not true. I am challenging your producers to do that and shame this gentleman on this program.
They should do that.
I'm saying that it was sold at 14 cedis. Today,
that's in January 2017.
I'm saying Yes, as a general, I want your producers to do and shame him because he peddled a lot of falsehood here. He peddled a lot of falsehood here, and then he get away with it. I think that someone should do that, and I will do that myself immediately after this. It was sold at 14 cities. Today is over 22 cities.
No, it's 21. Oh, it's not even
please,
up to 22.
Please, oh, I beg you, please. You see, the viewing public, the woman who struggled to enter Trotro will be very angry with you. The Kaye person who had to enter Trotro from Agbogulushi to more or less Accra to work, when prices, the fare that she used to pay as of January 2017 has been doubled, will be very angry with you. Because this is the demonstration of how insensitive you guys are to the plight of people. He sits here and he says relative stability. As of January 2017, the dollar to the cedi was 4.2. Today, I just checked 4.5. You sit here and then you tell us that you have been able to stabilize the relative stability. If you appreciate how 0.3 is and the consequences of it on the economy and businesses, you won't sit here and make that statement.
And you were
so please,
to free fall.
I'm saying that, you see,
if you know all that, and your government allowed to free.
I mean, if you don't have any respect for us, have respect for the viewing public. I listen to you.
Isn't this reduction beneficial?
I am saying that to what margin? Now you have people who promise that they were going to get something off. Now we are asking you to just do your solemn promise to the people of this country. Do what you promised Ghanaians you are going to do. That one too, is it a difficult thing?
His point that they need to stabilize certain
they knew
first and then gradually.
They knew too well the reasons why the NDC introduced those taxes. They knew very well. They had ranking members of energy. They had members of parliament. They knew. They were interested in political interest and opportunism. So they didn't care about the consequences of it on the economy. Today he's talking about opportunity costs. Opportunity costs didn't just descend from heavens. Opportunity costs have always been with us. At the time you were making those promises, didn't you know that the factors that culminated and led to that, and you said they were killer taxes. You described them as killer taxes. If you reduce it by 2, appreciated as it is, what will be the effect of it on the almost or more than 22 Ghana cedis that people pay? What will be the effect of it on the trot that someone who lives at Medina and works at Accra, the mason, the Kaye woman, the truck pusher, who indeed would have to struggle to get money to do it. And as a result,
wrap up for me. Let me go to Dr. Jennifer.
And as a result of the astronomical increases that this insensitive government has indeed imposed on the people of this country, people are finding it difficult because it is an input, it's a factor of production. And the moment there is an increase in that tax, what happens is the cost of production will go high. What happens is the prices of items that they used to produce will also go high. Price will go high.
But
and that is the
why they are reducing it?
Why would you increase it from 14 to 22 and then you are now telling me that you are taking just 2? Okay. To what effect? The president announced. Last point, just 30 seconds. The reason is that he interjects me, I don't. The president announced that, he has taken away 14% at a time when he knew that the only body that is clothed by law to do that was the PURC. The president didn't give a hoot about the PURC. Yes. Was that not what?
Well, the president also made a proposal to the PURC.
When it was presented,
it wasn't a proposal. Let me go to Dr. Jinapor. Gentlemen, that's okay. Dr. Jinapor, so this tax is going to go down to 13%. Certainly, consumers will benefit from it.
Well, I think this whole thing needs to be put in context. It needs to be put in context in the sense that the reality on the ground is that people are really complaining when it comes to the prices of food. There's no doubt about it, and I don't want to play politics with it. All I'm interested in is that something needs to be done about it.
So 2% off?
2%, when you ask yourself, I mean, the 2% even... it's still supposed to go through a certain kind of process.
Right.
It's not as if when you go to the pump today, fuel price is going to go down. And that is the problem that we have mostly when we have price reductions. But you see, right, this issue is a political issue, and we need to understand it. We need to understand it within the context in which this whole special petroleum tax came about. It came about in 2016. In fact, it was introduced by the NDC. Why did the NDC introduce it? The NDC introduced it because, if you remember, in 2016, crude oil prices were what? Were plummeting. And Ghana being an exporter of oil, it was affecting our revenues. So they had to introduce this tax in order to augment the income generation of the country. The question that needs to be asked, Bright, today, what is the situation? Because this tax was brought for a particular reason. Because there was There was a reduction in the price of crude oil. Right. Today, what is the situation? And I find it quite ironic when you hear the two sides of the political aisle changing their stance. I can imagine when this particular tax was introduced in 2016, that electioneering year, NPP made a lot of noise about it. And I'm tempted to believe that they made political capital out of it. Today they are in power. They are reducing it by what? By 2%.
You have reduced it from 17.5 and now from 15 to
13%, 4%. What is the NDC saying? The NDC is saying that they should scrap it.
Because they promised they were going to scrap it.
Yes, but what was that? Let me finish. Agreed. What was it?
All right. Please allow Dr. Jinapot to read
it. What was the stance of the NDC when it introduced it? Was it a temporary measure to augment, as I said, the shortage in terms? What was that? Is there evidence, empirical evidence to buttress that?
Oh yes. In fact,
let me. Is there empirical evidence to buttress that? Okay, that's fine. If that is the case, then I think please
allow.
If that is the case, then the NBC must provide that evidence. But you see, right? Be it as it may, I think as a people, as Ghanaians, as voters, as ordinary citizens, our interest is to at least have some respite in terms of our cost of living. The cost of living, my brother, don't lie to yourself. Cost of living is really high, and I wish and hope that government will be able to do something. And I think, look, in terms of this fuel price increase and all those things, when the economy is strong, when the dollar is very strong, when productivity is high, it affects all these issues. So yes, it's good that government has reduced it from 17 to 30, but I think more needs to be done. 2% is insignificant.
Okay, all right.
2% definitely is insignificant.
All right. Can I comment? You can't read anything.
Gentlemen,
I am grateful. I am grateful for your time, gentlemen, for letting me on. Dr. Ahmed Jinapot is from the University of Education, Widiba. Saka Salia is a member of the NPP's communication team, and Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a former Deputy Trade Minister, member of the NDC, a former member of Parliament for the Nanton constituency. I'm grateful for your morning with us. Stay with us. There is more coming up on the show.
So as you all know, blood is life. Someone needs just a little pint of blood to stay alive. And you have excess out there, so certainly TV3 is giving you the platform to come and donate. I'm here talking to Richard Ahian-Blair. He's the group head of corporate affairs here at Media General. Also Stephen Adai. He's the PRO for the National Blood Service. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So let's talk about donating blood. What is TV3 doing coming Saturday for blood donation?
Thank you, Doc, and actually Media General,
right,
which is much broader. So on Saturday, we're embarking on our annual blood donation drive in partnership with the National Blood Service and the 37 Military Hospital. You know, we do this every year, and we choose a month of February to give back. We believe that, like you said, blood is life, and the best gift to give is a gift of life. So we create this platform for our viewers, our listeners across all our other channels, and the general populace to come in to give blood, to donate, to restock the National Blood Bank, and to provide an opportunity for people's lives to be saved when there's an accident or when there's a need for blood.
Right. Stephen, but someone out there is thinking, well, I donate blood, I've been coming for this blood donation, so by now the blood service should have enough blood, and so maybe I shouldn't come. But tell us what the current state of the blood service is.
Thank you very much. The current state at the blood service, you know, we we have projected that at least every year we should be doing about 100% voluntary blood donation. Okay. But as I speak with you now, we are doing just about 45%. We are not even up to 50 yet. And so that is the more reason why we're appealing to people to always, at least if you're a donor, you are entitled to donate blood 4 times at least in a year. And so it is very, very important, because when you donate blood today, the blood doesn't sit there all the time or for the whole year. Just about 35 days, the whole blood gets expired, and so we need to donate blood constantly. And also the demand now for blood exceeds, supply. And so we want people to understand that people really need blood to survive. There are conditions at the hospitals that need blood, to survive. And so if blood is not available, then it means that people will die. And that is why we are appealing to people that come Saturday, this opportunity that the media general is giving us, we should take advantage of this opportunity and then come and donate blood. The blood you donate today may save a life tomorrow.
Certainly, it will save a life. But Richard, where is it happening, and what time should I be here for the donation exercise?
Fantastic. So this is happening, we are starting at 8 a.m. sharp. Within the premises of Media General TV3, as most people know, it's at Adisawe, Kanda. So we are going to convert the entire forecourt into a mini hospital with beds and seats and a conducive environment for people to donate. So 8 a.m. sharp, and we'll be here till 5 p.m.
Very well. Stephen, is there any special thing for me as a donor to do before I come here on that day?
Yeah, first of all, you should be fit. You should be well on that day. And then, very importantly, you should eat before you come and donate. Otherwise, people, for the first-time donors, if you don't eat before you come, you may feel a bit dizzy, and so we don't want people to go through that experience. And so try as much as possible to eat something small before you come. And then after that, we take you through a health check to make sure that you qualify to donate. The excess blood in you, that is what we take. And so if we check and you realize that you have excess in you, then you qualify to donate. We'll check your weight as well. And if you qualify, your age should be between 50 kg and above. And if you are under that regime, we allow you to go through the process. And we have our counselors also around. When you come, you have any other condition, we are ever ready to take you through that. And so it's a benefit to you as a donor. As you avail yourself to donate blood, you go through free medical health check. And that is a very important thing, because in Ghana, it is not our culture to always go to the hospital to have free medical checkups and things like that. And so come over here on Saturday, and then you will get all these benefits.
So Stephen, touch on the red card. What advantage does it give when you have the red card to show that you've been a donor before?
Yeah, the donor card actually guarantees you, the donor, some privileges. For example, currently we are practicing 2 donation systems. We have the family replacement system and then the voluntary system. So if you are a voluntary donor, you have the red card, it means that you have an advantage over someone who is not a voluntary donor. So when you come to the hospital and you need blood, we would not ask you to go through that difficulty or that stress to go and get family member to come and replace what you've been given. So the card gives you that privilege that even if there is 1 blood left, we'll make sure that you will have that blood over the person who is not a donor. So that is the advantage of the card. But people sometimes think that the card guarantees you free access to the blood. Well, we've said time and over again that blood is not for sale. But then you need to pay for a processing fee. That processing fee, everyone pays it, including staff of the National Blood Service. And it is the processing fee that we use to run the facility. And so if you don't pay that processing fee, that means that the blood may not be whole for the one who needs the blood. Because we've always said that the safety of the donor is as important as the recipient. And so when you come to the hospital and we ask you to pay the processing fee, despite you having the card, you still have to pay for that.
Right. So Richard, your final words on this blood donation before we wrap up.
So I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to there are many organizations that support us, including Nestle Ghana and Guinness Ghana, who are going to refresh the donors on Saturday. And I want to encourage all our viewers, please come, let's do it for love.
Certainly. On that note, Saturday we're all converging here from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. where you attempt to donate blood to save a life. I have been speaking to Richard Ahiablea. He's the group head for corporate affairs here at Media General, and also Stephen Adai. He's the PRO for the National Blood Service. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on New Day. Stay with us. A happy birthday to Madame Stephanie Holmes. She's the mother of Pearl Hammond here at TV3 Makeup. But Wiyala has been having an exclusive interview with Anthony Jackson. Well, he says she's his crush. Let's see what they got up to.
Twenty 2017 was a very interesting year for you. Can you just take me through how the year started and how it ended for you, all the highs and the lows?
Well, it started on a big note for me. I got gigs already booked. Even in 2015, my booking started earlier last year. And by the third month, I was already going out there to perform. But before that, I had private gigs. And later, I joined the girl band in Europe. We went around the whole of Europe, and it was just amazing. I sang all my songs, both Sisali, Wali, Dagare, and the shows were just everywhere. So I also traveled. I saw a lot of different places, different things. I learned new music. My new album, you will definitely hear some new style that I have decided to add. The ones I learned from my other musician friends, the all-female band. Highest for me, the first one was the Wiyala Street. I was named after in my town, so I went home to check it out. It was amazing. The reception was great, and for me, I would say maybe until I get some other award, but I think it will always be my #1 because it's not easy to get your name on the pole, you know, standing there all proud and and. My people showing appreciation, what I do, they acknowledge, and I should remember that they know and they are supporting me. Then the second one was the first time to perform in front of almost 70,000 people, just singing Sesali. And they didn't care what the language, it's just music. And when it hits you, you feel no pain. So a lot has happened, but I'll say these are the ones that stood out for me.
You mentioned singing to 70,000 people in Sisala. How do you craft your act before you go on stage so that even when people don't understand the language, they can enjoy the music?
I think I put myself in the performance. I'm always excited to get on stage, so I'm happy when I get on stage. I just sing my heart out. Sometimes when I sing, people feel a bit emotional because I myself, I get on the stage and I give my all. And at that moment, every time I get on the stage, it's like, this is what I was born to do. From childhood, I've been performing and I just want to make everybody happy, you know, smiling. So I think I transfer this good vibe, good energy to the people, and they they in return, they give it back. So I'm just myself. That's how I go on stage. I don't really rehearse before. What actually happens to me before I get on stage, let's say 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I have to go to the loo, but nothing, you know, and it's just the excitement and the anxiety. But once I get on stage, I'm happy. So I think it's happiness and nothing else really. Sometimes people think maybe I have taken something to energize. No, it's just excitement and the fact that I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So that's the craft. Just go on the stage, be happy, and be you, be real. You know, let the real you show through the music. And I mean every word I sing on stage, emotionally, whether it's a joke, whether it's, you know, everything is real.
Has there been ever a time where you've fallen flat and you've sounded flat on stage, whereby probably when you came off stage you were like, oh, I wish I could have done better with this performance?
I don't think so. I'm not saying that for camera, but I don't think so. I have never disappointed any crowd. I have never gone flat, or it's for me, like privately, every time I finish performing, I'll go to my manager. How was it? Meanwhile, people are like, wow. And I'm still like, no, that wasn't my best. So it's like even my best, I still feel, oh, I've not done enough. I'm always trying to do more. And sometimes my manager will tell me, it's okay. Relax. You did marvelous. And people come, you are signing autographs and all. But still, you know, I just still want to do it more. But I don't think I've ever experienced. I don't want to experience that. Maybe I'm yet to. But there's no stage I've gone on and people go like, blah. No, it's the other way around. We want more. We want more. We yalla. We yalla. Then it's like, okay, if you want her to come back, make some no. And then go like, whoa. And I go like, yeah. So I get back on the stage.
Village sex. Village sex.
Just a village lobby. If the sex word is too heavy for your mouth. lobby.
I watched the video. Now, the whole idea when someone hears village sex, well, what comes to mind is, you know, you're picturing some kind of raunchy video. They will watch the video and it's simple and it's straight to the point and it's beautifully crafted. Can you just tell me what went from the writing stage to the shooting the video?
Well, first of all, the song Village Sex, that's not the original title because it's a traditional song I arranged. My father loved this song. When I was writing the song, I asked him, and I was singing it wrongly, and he said, no, this is how you sing it. It's a sexy village song in Fonsi that we sing at the bachelorette party before the woman gets married. And it's also to encourage young men to marry the girl instead of always going to be doing lungu lungu. So that's the meaning of the song. But of course, we are musicians. You have to put a bit of excitement. And the reason why I chose village sex is because we Ghanaians, we don't like to say that word. Even you see, it's very hard. And we don't talk about sex. And the young ones, they will learn. The internet is there. They'll go and learn about it in a bad way. So why don't we talk about it? It's beautiful. It's something that God has given us. We all came through sex. We will tell you what sex is all about. But take your time at the right time. You see, at the end of the video, the boys are making fun of, oh, you want to marry? Now that, you know. So that's the meaning of the song. And this song, you can sing it anywhere. You can sing it in front of the chiefs, everybody. It is a romantic song that we sing in the village.
So in your home region, I know you have a huge fan base. You even got a street named after you. But let's talk about the whole of Ghana. What has the reception been like for We Yalla?
Well, for Ghana, I'm a bit confused. because the type of music I do is not hyped like the way the pa things, you know. So it's a bit difficult to tell, but I know, and I know I have a lot of following. The group or the caliber of people in Ghana that listen to my music knows what's up. The young ones all listen, but it's not the everyday yo-yo. I've been in the industry for 6 years. I'll say 2 years. From the 6 years, I think it's last year and this year, people are now beginning to pick up, and they're actually listening to the songs more, and they are taking their time to listen to the meaning, because the kind of songs I do, if you don't take your time and listen, and you are thinking it's just going to be the yo, 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 you won't get the meaning. But with time, people get used to the songs, and when they get used to the songs will be there for a long, long time. I don't want to just release a song, next week it has disappeared. I don't do junk music.
But you think award shows, for instance, the Ghana Music Awards, they've been fair to Wiala?
I vow not to talk about the industry. But I'll be a hypocrite if I say I don't have feelings, or I don't have anything to say, or I am a musician, and when you're a musician, you're asked someone. To be very honest, well, I'll say I don't know whether they are being fair or not. They know what they are doing. They are doing great. But I don't think there's space for what I do in the awards or whatever that goes on. In a lot of the award schemes and all that. There's no room for me, really. King Aisoba, Atongo Zimba, Sherifa Gunu and all, and certain musicians even in the South here. We those that we do the art for art. It looks like we are the one being ignored. Like, because we don't go around to show our big cars and hold our things and shake them and show our gold teeth and all that, insult people. No, you know, negativity sells. Or bad news sells more than anything. So we are just put on the side. We know, we are aware. But I'd rather be in that lane than to put my quality where junk is being worshipped. In every industry, you need junk music and all that. Yes, there's space for everybody. But where it's being worshipped and quality is suppressed, you have to advise yourself and focus elsewhere where you are appreciated. I just have to say the VGMA, they are doing a great job. They know what's best. Good luck to all the competitors this year. I don't need to win Artist of the Year to be good. I know I'm good. I'm not bragging. When you're good, you know you're good. And is Artist of the Year bigger than a street name? That's the award that can never be transferred to another person. And things like this don't come easy. Elsewhere, people have their names on the floor. Mine is standing there, proud and all that. So I should appreciate that. That's the biggest award, and it's bigger than Artist of the Year and all that. So let the others compete. I have won a Female Vocalist of the Year during VGMA's last 2 years, and then Songwriter, which also says, yeah, they acknowledge that you are a good singer, you can write good songs, but you're not just good enough to take the overall. So I'm going to find my level somewhere. That's it.
Well, how's 2018 looking like for you?
2018 is great. My shows is packed all over the place. I will be performing at this year's Commonwealth Games and in Australia, and I might just be touring with Reggie and Boli. And I'm also working on a lot of projects in the north with the young kids, especially the youth. We are putting something together for ourselves. If you are youth and you are all negative, fighting and all that, I don't want to know. We have to move forward. You know, problems will come, frustrations will come and all that, but you have to always look at the bright side. So I'm doing projects there, and then I'm also working with UNICEF to stop child abuse. Let's be fair, working with the young girls to keep them active, and then be very confident and go out there and do it.
When are we expecting a new album from you?
This year is coming, and it's coming big, big. In fact, there might just be 2 albums, because I've written songs in English, and I've also written some in my local dialect, and the sound are a bit different. So I think I have to separate the English ones from the traditional ones. So I might just have an EP and then the album itself. And I'll launch both in North Accra and then in Europe. Yes, so this year I'm just going out there to roar. The lioness of Africa is going to roar. I need a man to
some years back, it was the young lioness. Right now, you are the lioness.
No, I'm not young anymore. I'm not young. Oh, those days when I used to be a virgin, eh? Ajay! No.
Wait, what happened? The village sex happened?
Oh, no. Village sex was about to, but I prevent. No, I have to marry first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm dating.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give us who this man is?
But it's you.
He has that thing and I want to grind. I want to crush his body.
He's the one.
No, but we decided that we're not going to. There's someone else. When we met, you told me there's someone else.
I told you to bring the ring. You were giving me. You said you wanted to go. I said no, don't.
But there's someone else.
Oh no, well that one I'm not gonna talk about it. The virgin thing, no. People like to talk about funny little things, so I keep giving you funny things. Let's keep talking about it. When I marry and I'm ready to tell the world, I'll let them know. Until then, my private life is my private life. My sex life is my sex life. Whatever I do is my business.
The village sex. I keep going back to village sex. Because you watched the video that I watched, didn't you?
Yeah, I know body no be firewood. Body no be fire. Once in a while, you need to check your blood pressure. But I say, my private life, I won't tell anybody. Hey, before I realize they've tweet everything around.
Oh, but this is an interview.
I don't get ring. I always tell the guy, until you put a ring on it, I'm as available as possible. Very single and ready to mingle. So, if you want to marry me, give me the ring. Then I'll make the whole world know that, yeah.
Well, that certainly was the lioness of the North. I don't know if you saw AJ blushing there, but he says Wiala is his crush. So having that exclusive with her just set the mood right. But let me wish Wendy Precious Sabote of Stambik Heights of Pebi a happy birthday. It's coming from your husband. He says, I really love you and I thank you for giving me a bouncing baby boy. Also to George Oklu, the father of Daniel Oklu, here's your birthday. Happy birthday, sir. Also to Stephanie Holm, whose birthday it is today as well. She's the mother of Pearl Hammond here at TV3. Then happy anniversary to Percy and his wife Linda Abanu. Percy is here with us. And also good morning to you, Justina Owusu, one of my nurses at Achimota Hospital, and all to the staff of Achimota Hospital. Good morning to you. Right.
I like Wiala's frankness.
Yes.
She says, I'm not wearing a ring. I'm single. I'm ready to mingle. Yes, so if you're ready, just bring the ring and come.
She's very candid. I like her openness and I like the words she uses and how free she felt.
There are some who are not too straightforward, so it's good.
So maybe Bright will be sending his message to Wiala, or maybe this is actually an appeal to her to open her mind, like in your direction, and then you bring the ring along. I'm his
I have a couple
spokesperson
of
for
rings
today.
there. I'll see which one will fit.
Couple.
Yeah.
You've lined them up.
Yeah.
So depending on how you see the lady.
Who gets the note, then know they have different fingers.
But you see, it's interesting how Bright has chosen me to be his spokesperson, even when I know he and I have a relationship. But I mean, that's how the world goes. Sharing is caring. So Wiala, good morning to you out there. And to all our folks in the North, thank you for watching us every day. I hear you tune in to watch us. We're so grateful.
Yes, particularly those of you, Jonathan and Felix and the team in Bongo, have a wonderful Thursday morning. Peter Ayimbisi, the District Chief Executive, and your team doing a great work there, trying to fix the various challenges around the district. And also to the Afiama Busie Isa District Chief Executive, Mr. Sander, all of you there doing great work, trying to fix our problem. That's exactly what we want you to do. And those of you in Watu, good morning. Have a great Thursday morning. Yeah. One more day to wrap up for the week on New Day. Tomorrow is the final day, Friday, promising to be very, very exciting. We'll be remembering our sister Ebony, who passed out sadly. Anytime I talk about her,
yes, sad.
A couple of things, yes.
But Johnny will be with us tomorrow. He's just gone to radio to stand in for Winston on the morning show. But tomorrow he'll be here with his dance moves. So don't miss him tomorrow as we usher you into the weekend. Have a good day. Stay blessed. We care.